Alfred Naro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Happy to take a call on this reading this part of the bill, Mr. Chair, and especially in particular where Ms Ardern talked about wanting to be informed, especially since she asked that she wasn't part of the Select Committee, and those of us that were, we heard submissions, and I can talk about the Family Disputes Resolution. In particular, I want to acknowledge the Honourable Leanne Dalziel, who was part of that, and we had a good working relationship. I think we worked well in hearing the submissions and working through what I think actually we came to a good resolution here. Mr. Chair, I want to talk in particular that Ms Ardern talked about the voice of the children. Well, in actual fact, if she'd read and if she'd been part of the Select Committee, she would have known that the Parenting Through Separation, which is the parenting program, absolutely focuses in particular to ensure that the voice of the children is heard. But I also want to remind her that she may not have read the back part of the story, and I can understand that because she's only just reading off the speech notes that she's been given, wasn't part of the Select Committee. So here's the thing, I just want to inform her that in response to serious concerns raised by the court users, which included the public, the judges, the lawyers and councillors, Cabinet directed in 2011 a review of the court. But here's some of the key issues that were found. The review found that in addition to the concerns about rapidly rising costs, the court lacks sufficient focus on meeting the needs of children and on achieving sustainable, durable outcomes for families. This in particular, Ms Ardern, is the focus of the bill in particular. It found that the court was adversarial, placing additional stress on already strained relationships, negative for children, focused not enough on the serious cases, spends too much time on simple matters, was too complex, and this is, in a sense, the essence of this review, and in particular, this bill as well. But, Mr. Chair, I want to focus on the Family Disputes Resolution. What I think is in particular, Mr. Chair, is that the bill establishes a family dispute resolution process that particularly focuses on the family justice system towards supporting people to resolve their disputes. Mr. Chair, it's been unfair about the concerns that have been raised that there's a lack of concern for the needs of the children. In fact, this bill in particular does that, Mr. Chair. It talks about this. I want to pick up on the point around the providers. Mr. Little made, I think, some unfair comments when he was actually there at the Select Committee. We heard from providers. We had the New Zealand Mediation Service Association who came. They talked about not only their experience, their expertise, but this is what they said in particular, that good mediation truly does make a difference. And again, all the evidence shows us that in this case, where we can ensure that families do not need to go through this, and as we're saying in this bill, it's not for all people, but where there are some that can actually move through out of court process, then absolutely the FDR process can be very beneficial to them as well. We're sort of hearing from officials that they were saving around about 4,000 court applications, and roughly around about 2,000 children in particular could be benefit from this. Mr. Chair, I want to also pick out some comments around the issue for FDR providers. Look, the FDR providers, it's very clear that they will be expected to screen parties for safety risks. I know that from the Green members there was some concern about the issue around family violence. We want to ensure that the power imbalances or inability to participate due to illness or disability will be screened and will be picked up as well. Where the FDR is unsuitable or unsuccessful for people, they'll still be able to access the court system to resolve their disputes as well. Mr. Chair, I also want to pick up that the FDR will be subsidised for those that meet the financial eligibility threshold. There was some concern that they would not be able to access this. Mr. Chair, that's not true at all. In fact, it's really clear that where they can meet or unable to meet the financial eligibility threshold, they will be subsidised in this concern as well. For others, the cost of the FDR is likely to be lower than the cost of employing a lawyer and making an application to the court. Mr. Chair, we think that the FDR process is a good process. We think that it's not only a process that will help support children and families, but in particular, Mr. Chair, we think that this process will be beneficial into the family court system. Thank you.
Members, the Committee of the Whole House is suspended for the valedictory speech. The committee will resume at 7:30.